Was she in great pain?
Yeah, she was in great pain. Then we cut off her head and drove a stake through her heart and burned it, and then she found peace.
Doctor!
Do you not think that there are things which you cannot understand and yet which are? That some people see things that others cannot? But there are things old and new which must not be contemplated by men's eyes. Because they know, or think they know, some things which other men have told them.
It's time for the hunter.
Yes, the hunter.
Yeah.
Ah, yes. Boy, you know, this is an interesting one.
That's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful, but it is about the Grandmaster Abraham Van Helsing and his battles with the Dark One, Dracula. And so, fighter of the darkened, defender of the light, possessor of knowledge to kill the children of the night. That's what Van Helsing was known for. He was a very smart man, and you know he fought what we call the darkened, and Dracula was part of that kind of a category of beings that have a long history on the earth. That even go as far back as time of the Nephilim and the sons of God descending. And it all comes from that. So, yeah, this whole song is talking about Grandmaster Abraham Van Helsing. And so that's where we start out with in this track, is just what everybody knows about it.
Giver of blood to save. That's about Lucy, right?
That is about, yes.
Blood transfusion. Yeah.
Yes, because he did a lot of blood transfusions. And if I remember correctly, it was ultimately, was it always him, or was it Jonathan?
It wasn't always him, but it was not a common practice by then. It was on the edge of science.
Yes. Yep.
And he was risking it. Yeah.
And they gave a lot. Which you have the contrast between the giver of blood and the taker of blood.
Yeah,
and the same way you have a contrast in the story between Dracula is always needing to feed. Abraham Van Helsing is always telling them we need to eat. If you ever remember that in that.
Yeah.
So that's what that is.
Well, that's obvious, right?
Oh yes, that's the end of the account, is where they finally get to the castle and they find him, and end up finally being done with him. Yeah, that's an interesting thing, because you know they called out to him to come help Dr. Van Helsing. Professor Van Helsing, and defending from bloodlust. You know, that is what those creatures were known for, like just a lust for blood, the life essence of the creature, and wanting to take power and have complete domination over another.
The life is in the blood.
Exactly, complete power and domination over a creature.
Passion of greed.
It's greed. It's power. It's not just Dracula that wants that.
You know what C.S. Lewis says in the Screwtape Letters? When he speaks in the voice of the demon?
What?
He says, the enemy, being God the Father, the enemy is fullness, and he wants to fill everything up. But our Father is emptiness, and he wants to devour everything.
Yeah. Yes.
So you have the overflowing and the constant lack.
Yes.
That's the nature of God and the nature of Satan.
Yeah. Yes, that is correct. And so, being a Grandmaster, we can read his account and the account of those who wrote down the letters and things that are compiled there. His stuff was recorded for us to learn from. So
and the Grandmaster who recorded his deeds might be Farrell, right? Because
yes,
he is the successor. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, I had to think back on some of these things. So, bearer of the Spear of Gold, being a Grandmaster, if you know the lore and the history of the order, there is a golden spear that gets handed
sometimes
down.
Called the scepter, sometimes called the spear.
Yes.
It takes different forms in different generations.
Exactly, yes. And so, being a Grandmaster, he had possession of that. I always wonder where that was on his person when he was doing all these exploits and battling these creatures that he did. It would be an interesting thing. So upon hidden history, things people might not know about that you can find out pretty easily through the records of the order that's been published and things like that. Those are some good lines right there. I like that. So a didact is and I would have to remember the exact definitional dictionary type of definition for it.
A kind of a teacher, right?
It's kind of a teacher. It's meant to be something that teaches. We have the didact in church history. It is meant to be somebody who is over something. It's just another word for teacher or teaching. From this position.
And Harker got some practical teaching right from scratch.
Oh yes,
he was like thrown into the hunt of this beast.
Yes,
this dragon.
Yep. And so the didact of Harker, the father of Farrell, kind of a spiritual father to Farrell, as we've talked about. Not a literal father, but a spiritual father. So in that aspect. So carry the flame ever onward. That's the flame of truth and what the order stood for, and what just truth in the church and in the world. And then send the dragon straight to hell. That is, they kill and defeat Dracula, and he is forever banned. He goes where he should go, and then in the same way, like back to the Book of Revelation, the dragon is sent to the lake of fire. So it's that same thing. Once again, there's nothing new under the sun. Time's a whisper in the storm. It keeps coming back.
Yeah.
So.
He was the teacher of Farrell many years before Farrell entered the order. Did you know that?
I am. I have to there is. I might have known that.
Okay, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
He got kicked out of school for fighting.
Ah. Okay.
And Farrell or Van Helsing, of course, is a guy who is into old books and weird manuscripts and stuff.
Yes.
And Farrell's dad was a merchant of rare and old books.
Oh yes, that's correct. I do remember that.
So it was Farrell's father reaching out to Abraham Van Helsing, asking him to take Farrell under his wings as a private tutor.
Oh,
so
okay.
He was about 12 then, and so he went with him to the Netherlands and stayed there until Van Helsing was called to London.
Yes.
In a very hasty mission.
Oh, yes.
And then he went with him. there, but he wasn't involved in the
Yes.
hunting. He was studying in his
Ah,
chambers.
yes.
Had
Okay.
no idea what was going on.
No.
Yeah. Well,
And
that's a part of the story. That's a sidetrack. Let's see where we are.
baptism of blood, in their sins they shall bathe. You know, the scene when not it was yes, it was Lucy, when it was a bloody incident when they had to put her down. And just the fact that everything had to do with blood. In all those goings on, that, you know, everybody was kind of being baptized in blood in different ways. And as we fight the evil in the world, you know, we're baptized in blood if we believe in Christ. You know, we're baptized in water, and in the same way we are united with him in his blood and his death. So it's the same type of thing.
But the damned are bathing in their own tainted blood.
Yes, exactly.
That cannot cleanse. That can just defile. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. That's just talking about at the end of the account in Dracula, that where they finally, he's got Mina with him, and if I recall correctly, you have Jonathan and Morris, or is Morris gone by? They're separated from him, but Van Helsing and Lucy are together, and so he's got Lady Mina, and he's got Mina. I'm sorry, not Lucy, and they're getting into the castle, and he's with her.
Yeah.
So, and who could do that? Who could take that trek after everything that's gone on and everything you've seen and go straight into the heart of darkness?
Yeah.
You know,
and it says in the account of Dracula that is, you know, that was published by Abraham Stoker. Yeah, it says that this is compiled for the children of Harker to read, so that they might know what a heroine their mother was.
Yes,
but it also says that they have to wait a little to read this.
Yes,
because it's kind of it's not for the smallest children.
No, not at all. If I recall correctly, he had the ladies of the night that were still with him, and they get rid of them first because they were trapped. And so by burying the stake in them, it would free them from that. That being in that in between life and death, the undeath. The undead.
So, and I can't recall exactly how it says in the book now, but in the Dracula movie, the one by Francis Ford Coppola, Dracula is actually atoned in the end. And it's one of the most evangelical things I've ever seen on a movie.
Yes.
Because when he understands that he is not, it kind of dawns on him that God did not push him aside. He pushed God aside.
Yeah.
He just says, "Where is my God?" And you can see the cross in the church that he impaled with the sword.
Yes.
How it's healed.
Yes.
And how the curse is lifted. And then he says to Mina, "Set me free." And she takes him and cut off the head.
Yes.
I like to believe that's how it ended for him.
And that would be that would be good if
that would be good.
Yes.
And the first time I saw this, I was kind of upset of the level of forgiveness and mercy, and it can't just be that he's. Oh yes, it can.
Yes,
because he was just. God has been standing just a step away, because the thing is that he is kind of moping that he can't die and he's cursed and whatever. He doesn't dare to die.
Yeah.
Because he could just go out into the sun and be ashes.
That's
but he
true.
didn't.
Yes.
He was holding on to his own bitterness.
Yes. But maybe a little bit of hope buried in there somewhere, very deep down. Maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
So
because there's nothing saying that God turned from him.
Yeah.
But he chose to turn away from God.
Yeah.
And to try to codify or that with every sin and blasphemy.
Yeah.
And the mercy of God is obscene.
I like that.
It is offending.
I love that.
To the human. These the two things that people don't like about God is that he is too righteous and that he's too merciful. That's the two things. The opposite sides people can't handle.
Yeah.